singer-songwriter poet, full of love and meaning. I hand him tomatoes. He enjoys them. I hand him a candle. He knows what to do. It's illegal to light it, so he lights it for you. I see you. I see you. They're coming and going. Poets and storytellers. 96 hours ago, the Kickapoo storyteller left this mortal coil. My other friend is in therapy so he can use his hands again to lift up haiku and garden flowers. Hands in the soil and on guitar. Now I hope we'll see him in July when the Vegas book flies. Alive. It was D.H. Lawrence who said, there are two ways to live in this world, and both of them are trees. One is to be cankered and angry, and the other is to grow beautiful in the light of the sun of walking day. And he said there are two ways to walk through this world. One is to be thin and mean, and the other is to be rich and bountiful, abounding in prosperity. Or to walk on the walls between the two and never come down except to say I love you.
The mood is sorrow. Far from below zero, it is without tomorrow. Sadness abides on these premises, hits or misses, champagne and cocktails. As she walks in, moving along the absent faces, smiling and laughing, loud enough in a vacuum. She knows of me right away. I am an open book. Who is hunting who? I wonder for a moment. We make amends and pay for all the inconsiderate demands, keeping our heads together when everyone has already lost it. It's not us who are crazy. It's the rest of the world, with their rush to obtain what cannot be grasped. Writing has taught me to be patient, for if beauty is found in the eye of the beholder, sorrow has made of me a lover.
Oh yeah! Triste, lacrima, sorrow, the art of teardrops. There you go. Sure, yeah, it's great. Yeah. Good. Oh, here, Venezuela. There you go.
This one work?
It works.
All right. Several years ago, I wrote a little book called A Catechism for Catholics and Other Non-Believers.
Oh, that's good. Other non-believers. Very good.
And I got a lot of hell, especially from priests.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Well,
first of all, the Catholics were not non-believers, and I said, I didn't say we were unbelievers.
That's right. Non-believers.
But we are all struggling to become believers.
Yeah.
And as far as the catechism goes, it's I said, there's another criticism. I couldn't write a catechism. Its definition is an elementary book consisting primarily of the principles of a religion in the form of questions and answers. And I had basically several questions. Who is this God whom I seek? What does it mean to be a person of faith? Why can't I just love God? Why do I need a church? Why have sacraments? How and why should I pray? If God is everything I claim, then how do we explain the presence of sin and evil? And what happens when I die?
Good question.
You can't get any simpler than that.
Well, what's the answer?
But in one of the chapters, I have a section that a lot of it is poetry. I didn't realize until Jack had invited me to come and started looking. I didn't realize how much poetry I had written over the years.
Ah, good man.
But this one isn't poetry. It's called Parable. It was several weeks before Christmas, and the frenzy had already begun. In his saner moments, the pastor wondered if this frenzy was what the coming of Jesus was all about. But he was a practical man and didn't allow himself the luxury of indulgence in such reverie for a long time. As he told a close friend, I'm a practical man. I didn't get to be the pastor of the largest church in the diocese by philosophizing. I got there because I'm able to get things done. But somehow the thought would not go away. He couldn't escape the meaning of the words in the Advent reading from Isaiah. Enlarge the space of your tent. Or Mary, he has deposed the mighty from their thrones and has raised the lowly to high places. Or Malachi, who will endure the day of the Lord's coming? His friends tried to help him. Look, you never worried about such stuff before. Why start now? You didn't get to your high position by worrying about Isaiah or Malachi. What worried him most was a remark made by one of his younger associates. What's the matter, Frank? Job getting too big for you? You're getting old? Frank kept fighting the thought that God wanted to talk to him. Then there was that phone call, that voice. Father Frank, this is the Lord. I want to talk to you and your parishioners. I will call you on Christmas morning at 10 a.m. Please arrange for some of them to be there so I can talk with them. Frank was certain one of his friends was playing some cruel trick on him. All denied it. He did not dare talk about the call to his associates or anyone who might talk about the call and make him look bad. About that time, Felix, the church janitor, came along, and Frank knew this is the perfect person to talk to. He doesn't read or write, has little or no schooling. He doesn't even go to church. But Frank was not ready for Felix's response. Father, why are you so surprised that God would want to talk to his people? The simplicity and logic of Felix's response touched Frank, but he still could not act. I know, I'll bring it to the parish council. Let them decide. Their reaction was the same as Frank's. Father, this is Advent, not April Fool's Day. Father, you've been working too hard. The council was about to pass it off as a joke when Felix spoke up. I just can't understand your reaction. The church is here to help us experience the presence of God. God wants to talk to us and you won't be bothered. The simplicity, logic, and honesty of Felix's response angered the council members. They really wanted to say, who are you to tell us what to do? You're only the janitor. You can't even read or write. But there was always the chance that Felix is right. Reluctantly, they decided to be present to accept God's phone call. But they were not going to publicize it. They were not ready to expose themselves to any ridicule just for a phone call from God. They also got their revenge on Felix. He had come to the meeting in order to ask them to raise his salary. They actually voted to lower his salary. On Christmas morning, as promised, God called. The pastor spoke first. Lord, it's such an honor to get this call from you. You know how much you care about us. We know how much you care about us. We've been considering an expansion program, but the funds just are not there. Now that we know that you're behind us, we'll just go and reach out in faith and go ahead with our plans to build. The council president spoke next. Lord, we need your help. The church is divided. Many of our young people have stopped coming to church. We could use more money and more members. We just never seem to get enough teachers to teach catechism. And there are so few of us who do the work. We're all getting weary. If you want us to do your work, then you are going to have to help us. The other council members spoke in much the same way. Toward the end of the call, the Lord's head began to ache. He wondered, why am I doing this? Why did I ever make this call? After the final council member spoke, the Lord asked to speak to Father Frank. I'd like to talk to Felix. He doesn't even go to church. My concern is not limited to church-going persons. But Lord, he doesn't speak English very well. I understand languages other than English. I speak the language of the heart. Lord, Felix has no schooling. That does not mean he is incapable of talking to me. Lord, he can't even read or write. I want to talk to Felix. So Felix was called and told that the Lord wanted to talk with him. He ran quickly and with great joy. Thank you, Lord, for your call. I feel your presence often. You have given me everything I've ever needed. But I wonder, Lord, what do you need? What can I give you? What do you need, Lord? Thank you, Felix. You have made my day. You are the only person who even thought of me. Every person I talked to had an agenda.
Yes.
No one even allowed me to talk.
No.
Everyone was so busy asking for favors, I felt overwhelmed.
Yep.
You are the only person who sensed that I have some needs. I need your love and concern, your faith. Without that faith, that love, that concern, I will soon be dead. You have given me a new lease on life. Thank you, Felix.
Yeah, good one, Doc. Good one.
Oh, it's $100 for that?
Yeah, for that. Worth it. There you go. Bill? Oh, there's a bill for Bill.
Well, they're getting richer.
I know, it's great. Oh, just don't forget the flight.
You didn't think that was worth that much money?
Worth a lot. Price.
That's not a regular $100 bill. That's a steep one.
Yeah.
That's a good $100 bill.
No,
It doesn't have a dent attached to it.
It's Benjamin Franklin.
It's not from the Federal Reserve, I think.
It says Federal Reserve note.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I buy my money from the dollar store.
You got it at the dollar store.
I can't get over the joke of that. Sorry.
Anybody here have their milk delivered by a milk truck when they were
In the early days.
a milk truck?
Yeah, once a month.
Milk man used to come to the house. This is somewhat of an ode to the milkman. We had the same milkman for many years. The Christians in milk truck.
Oh, wow.
And that's one of them right there.
Looks like a milk truck.
It does, yeah.
Definitely a milk truck.
Yeah.
But the odd thing is that this milk truck was down in the middle of downtown at the Turk's Head building in Providence.
Yeah.
It was such an uncommon place to see a milk truck. That's why I took that photograph. But it prompted me to write this. Here come the milkman. Now we can have our cereal. Imagine our empty spoons, our hungry bowls, the bags of puffed wheat and puffed rice from the A&P. That was the Atlantic and Pacific.
Right.
Grocery section.
Didn't know.
And those delicious Chinese milk bottles with cream packed up at the top of the bottle.
Yeah, I know.
All of us kids wanted to ride
on that funky milk.
Funky.
Some mystery ride with our friendly milkman who knows all of our names
Yeah.
and waves a big bye-bye every time.
Nice, milkman. Scott. Who's here? Who's here? Fox, very good. Fox. We want to teaching you. Linda phoned me. She wants to teach you in August at the Negro Gallery.
Really? Seriously?
Yeah,
That's a beautiful thing. Oh, I'd be honored.
You like Snoopy?
Negro Gallery. Yeah. Okay. You'll see familiar people like that man.
Yes.
He'll be there too.
He's ready to go.
Okay, we're ready to listen now.
Okay.
We'll be good.
We all take time.
Oh, God, like Clark.
Michele, you want to play?
Oh, just walk in.
I'm gonna go get a drink, but
Make it work. Work. It's just not right.
Figuring there must be someplace I had to go after they left to calm my nerves. So I dropped them off and everything was okay. And I got in my car and I headed north toward a bookstore.
Towards the side.
Yeah.
When did Mama relinquish her power? Was when she knew I worked so hard to plant the seeds in my children so they could soar from the nest like all of the rest. My mother sacrificed for me to have great education. That's why I articulate be this woman who sits so gracefully in front of you. That's why I sit and laugh and see these toys beside me that sing musically. Because I once lost my voice in high school, you see. I'm almost 60, so that means I lived through the times when education was robbed from me. So my mother, being black Cherokee, said we're moving, child, see. 2 days we packed up and we found ourselves in Brookline, Massachusetts, where they had the best education that I heard was the best decision she could have done for me.
Can we do a version for her?
About my background, how I laugh at the instances my family did to make sure I had a decent education. It was a big deal.
Yay, Massachusetts!
Yeah, Brookline, yeah. And so a lot of my poetry that you will hear might reflect on my past, and it's very difficult for Indian to look back because we have a saying, don't look back, because once you do, you die. So I look back to the joy, and that's what you might hear now and then is my poetry or my a cappella songs. I'm really not a musician, I'm a yogi. Okay, so I'm going to...
You don't look like you're almost 60.
Yeah, I'm blessed with the good genes and my mother and all this hard work. They put me in sports all the time. So, this is for the next person. And if you like, okay.
Tomorrow night there's a reading at 120 Frog Pond Lane, Dripping Springs, in a Lutheran church. So come and meditate that place. It's really good. It's called Thirsty Thursday. But that has nothing to do with now. I mean, we're right here now. But when I'm in doubt, I always go to the mystic. You know? I always think to myself, mist is where it's at. You know, early morning mist, the fog.
Yep.
You know, we live in a fog. Sometimes you hear a horn, you realise, hey, that's a ship. We're sinking. In debt, Titanic. I hear it. But the beautiful part is we're still here, aren't we, Sam? Coming back to it. A little sheep in the clouds, counting. So, beautiful part is, apart from tomorrow night apart from that, not as if we haven't tapped at the door. I wasn't brought up, I was beaten up Catholic. The same thing in Silver Fox. My father said to me, "We're going to educate you." Beat the hell out of you. We're going to educate you. Because I want you to lead the revolution. I thought to myself, what sort of revolution is this? I don't want to fight anyone. I want to surrender. I want to give up. I want to say, whatever you want, it's yours. My father was a fighter. He fought all his life. He used to have problems with authority. Whenever they was in the army, he would punch out people because he really didn't like being told what to do. Irish, you understand?
Couldn't help it.
You just can't tell them anything. But the beautiful part was I never tried to. I realized against the fist, silence was the only resource. And I retreated into silence for years. And only when I was away from the fist I realized that there is a defense. The defense is to articulate a world that you can actually live within. And I went looking for this world. And I thought to myself, I will not resist. I will not fall into solipsism. You know, where you're just withdrawn like a hermit. And then they burned my newspaper, so I withdrew like a hermit from the world. I thought to myself, this world is terrible. I'm not going to make it to this world. And I realized there's two ways to deal with the world. It's strange, and one is to withdraw from it so your aura cannot be seen by anyone or anything. You are completely invisible right in front. Is that true, Sam? And the other way is to walk right into the eyes of the dragon and become invisible again. They can't see you. They can't hear you. It's amazing. Right in front. Like that lone man in Tiananmen Square. Like Julia Butterfly in her tree. It only takes one human being to restore what's left of humanity. And I often think, well, where are the examples? Well, there's Granny D. She went right across America just to stop campaign corruption. Now we know, of course, we're supposed not to know about these. These are holy individuals, brave souls that went out there. My hero, Johnny Appleseed, and Anonymous. Anonymous has been appropriated, but there was an Anonymous before this Anonymous. Everyone knows what Anonymous does. Amazing things without a name, without a brand name. Now the beauty is this. The answer is us. Look no further. No system, no ideology, no trust, no projections, no mirages, no hallucinations. What is enough. If it ain't enough, all the dreams of tomorrow, well, they won't get you through the day. All we have is tonight, and that's enough for me, I say. Now, other people may walk different paths to the waterfall, but we all see the waterfall. We walk in the cave, some see an elephant, some see a postage stamp. So it's not so much the versions of the vision, it's the fact that we all dream in different ways, I guess. These footprints, they may lead down the waterhole, they may lead to the rock. Tap at the door opens, and they say, well, what you waiting for? We've been waiting for you all along. What's it say?
Anything fun?
Yeah, why we are always broke. That's him. That's him. Yep.
Thank you.
He's coming, Jack's coming.
Am I
Jack's
coming?
on the way.
Oh, well, I better find something.
Didn't you know you're on
I better find something. Yeah, I got something.
Roomy.
All right. Oh, here's Sam's turn.
Roomy. Roomy. Where's the mystic part? Same thing. I was educated.
The anger that lives within all of us leads us to self-destruction, self-absorption, and delusions are the common lot. I am weary of the world being waged for profit, as well as the sound of crashing barricades. I have no plan to save the earth, no important message to carry. I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. As if it was not a necessity in this city. I swear anyone would agree with me. To be happy, isn't it surprising when most love sorrow? I majored the aging relationships to seek asylum in your eyes. Compromises turn into counting the blessings. Is there something we are missing? Or are we living proof of what occurs in most of us? The shattered dreams, the giving and taking. She said I was angry. As she grew angrier, catching up each phrases with a solid remark. A solid remark. A solid remark.
Hey, Jack. Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack. Don't say that at the airport. They'll have to do a personal body inspection on you twice if you say that.
Wow. How much is
Hi, Jack.
How much is that? You want to be hijacked?
You don't want that. Well, the word of the week, it seems this week the word of the week, it's not a word that I would normally bring up as a topic. In fact, I wasn't brought up to talk about these things.
Yeah.
Sex didn't exist when I was a child.
That's true.
You never heard of it? We haven't talked about it. And especially specific words, but this week the word seems to be vagina.
Yeah.
Everywhere I'm going, I'm hearing it over and over. It's on the internet, it's on the news, it's at meetings I go to. What's the deal, you know? So, you know, maybe I should write something about that. Well, it seems the most powerful word of the week, this past week, was the word vagina. The word is out. It's no longer a mystery. It's no longer a secret. It's no longer taboo. Michigan legislator Lisa Brown said it out loud, and she said it in a room full of men. Not just any room, but the floor of the House. And not just any men, but legislators, men of power. Her use of the V word brought the House down. She made history this week of June 2012. Who had ever had the audacity? Who even considered the notion? Whoever had the courage? Immediately she was barred from speaking. She had offended them. This past week I had heard it said over and over. This past week I've seen it in the news again and again. past week, it's all over the internet. It's almost like we learned a new thing. It's like we made a new discovery. It's almost like this most private place suddenly has a name. Women seem to be overjoyed. Vagina dialogues have begun to arise. But this time it isn't a stage production. This time you can't choose to attend. This time the word is out. Really out. This time the word is in the open. Now we can no longer turn away. Now we have to acknowledge women are the source of our existence. She who had the audacity to say that the word awakened us to a reality. History was made this past week. Those men who attempted to silence her for pointing out the obvious, were they not born? Were they not conceived? Were they not delivered from
Are you going to play too? Yeah. Okay. Let me play yours.
Oh yeah, no, I can see. I wish I could have heard you the first time.
Town, so from like 10 to 1 in the morning. So until they fire me, I'll be doing that. Every Monday, 10 to 1. It's pretty cool up there, on the roof. So first songs I wrote was in the middle of my sports, and I couldn't write the words.
Soon mailboxes will be obsolete. We will love others virtually, but less than ourselves. Fear is nothing. Triumph lasts sometimes. Don't take away the spark of life. Don't take away the spark of life you see in others over a drunken spree. In one of these indulgent moments, what a waste. The arguments for nothing. The screams, the hurtful words, the pride, the guns, the retaliations, the sleepless nights, the pushing and pulling, the sunshine under which most have already vacated, staring into empty skies filled with a commercial value, inside living conditions, rent signs. Is it what you want? We have the pain and the pleasure. So many people try to kill each other. Remember this, we ain't gonna live down here forever and ever. Souls are wounded, lives are blinded. Instead of love, we only see misery. People criticize, they can't analyze, they don't want to know what's inside. They don't want to know what's inside. They don't want to know what's inside.
You haven't read that one.
I got one.
It's okay. Wow.
Hello. Thank you very much. That was good. So once again, anyone here ever shovel snow? What
No.
That's like shoveling snow?
No
snow shovelers here?
No way.
One, two, three.
I went to Chicago.
Chicago, Massachusetts, Boston,
New York, New Jersey,
California.
Big Beer Mountain.
Indiana. So I'll read this one to cool you off a little bit.
See you next week.
I've shoveled my share of snow. I used to not only shovel snow at home, but I had to shovel it at work sometimes too.
Over there. Okay.
So in the past life, I was a station master.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the master of the station.
Oh. Observation.
Sublimation. Hesitation, anticipation, and a lot of humiliation. So when something goes wrong, you're
responsible. That's it.
So at this Kingston station, where I was a station master for several years, we'd be very busy one minute, and then the next minute we'd get very quiet. People would be in anticipation of the train coming, you know? Oh, we're leaving town, the train's coming, our so-and-so's coming in, and blah, 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 you know, and the train comes in, and then people get their cabs, and all of a sudden things settle down, and it's really quiet. Maybe an hour or two. So one night it snowed, and it was one of those quiet moments I wrote this down. It was a quiet, snowing evening, not one passenger showed up. for the last train to Washington. I finished the nightly accounting and my reports. I locked the safe and the office. I checked the heat and the level and the light. I locked the station doors for the day. On the way down the drive, I turned to see a photograph ready to be taken, and the good luck to have my camera with me. And it was the most beautiful picture I ever took of the Kingston Station, this rural historic station with a blanket of snow on it. And I just turned from my car window and took that picture, and it won prizes.
Oh, that's right.
Because you never know when that moment's going to be there for you.
That's true.
So you just have to be ready.
Hey, go, Bill.
I have a lot of things I could read, but something struck me this afternoon. I think the last 5 or 6 years, I've stopped listening to news on the radio or watching it on television or reading newspapers because it is all so negative.
Yeah.
I find nothing inspiring
No.
in the news. But I've seen on the last day, you can't escape it because I do a lot of work on the internet and all these things are there.
Popping up.
And heard about the Sandusky trial. Well, I thought somebody in Sandusky, Ohio, one of the civils, had done something wrong. And I hadn't paid any attention to it. And only this afternoon when it was going to court or going to the jury did I realize that it was about a person who was accused of molesting children. And I shudder when I hear parents being mean to their children. I would in no way, even in any way, tolerate abuse of children. But it has become such an issue, and all of our convictions have not saved one child. All of our problems, all of our things haven't caused one less person to be violent. And I almost reached it, I don't know if the man is innocent or guilty, but I have reached the thing that maybe if 20 people in a row were not convicted, maybe the lawyers who make huge amounts of money off of the molestation of children, and the media who grabs it up, maybe they might back off, and we might begin to hear something a little bit more positive.
Hang on, Bill. You got it? Kick my bag. Please kick my bag. Kick my bag.
Whenever I'm in doubt, I go towards the Mystics. Go to Van Morrison to the Mystics. Particularly like Layla and Hassan and Rumi. So 13th century, took 700 years to find, and they had to be in translation. So Robert Bly, thank you. Where everything is music. Yeah. So, gentlemen, don't worry about saving these songs. If one of our instruments breaks, it doesn't matter. We have fallen to the place where everything is music. The strumming and the flute notes rise into the atmosphere, and even if the whole world's hearts should burn up, there will still be hidden instruments playing. So the candle flickers and goes out. We have a piece of flint and a spark. This singing art is seafoam. The graceful movements come from a pearl somewhere on the ocean floor. Palms reach up like spindles at the edge of driftwood along the beach, wanting. They derive from a slow and powerful root that we can't as yet see. Stop the words now. Open the window in the center of your chest and let your spirit fly in, fly out again. Rumi.
You got it, baby. Right? You're back up there.
And the sadness so your daddy is rich and your mama is good looking. Nothing that can stop you. Mommy and Daddy standing by.
Nice job.
Okay.
You found them. There they are. Were they here?
They were actually in my car.
Okay. All right. I love that song. I was listening to it and was thinking of it, and thinking Porgy and Bess.
Yep.
Remember, as a child, I heard this song was sung a lot, and I thought it was a lesson in the human anatomy.
Wow.
And that the ankle bone connects to the
thigh bone,
and on the way up, and then in it says, "Now hear the word of the Lord."
Yep.
And I'm trying to figure out, what does the word of the Lord have to do with all of this? And then when I was in the seminary, I was reading the book of Ezekiel, and it's directly out of the Bible. But what struck me most was that it is the people of art, whether they be the poet, the musician, who have most influenced our society.
Yep.
And they're the least paid, but they're the people who have influenced all of the good things that have happened in our society. The civil rights movement came about in large part because of people who saw things a little differently.
Hopefully, yeah.
And who weren't so interested in economics as they were in humanity. And I hadn't intended to say all these things this evening. It's sort of it. But I do have something else I wanted to read. And like I said, until Jack invited me here, I hadn't realized I had written so much poetry over the years.
Gotcha.
But I had no place to turn.
Right.
In desperation, I turned to the church. Each day as I went there, I saw a beggar, and I pitied him. He disgusted me. I wanted to run from him, yet was attracted to him. One day he smiled. I wanted to smile back, but thought better of it. The next day I didn't go to church, nor the next, nor the next. Then I thought, I can't allow that old fool to keep me from church. I need it too much. So I went back each day, and each day I saw him. Each day he smiled. One day I smiled back. Once I managed to smile, a strange thing happened. I suddenly realized why I was going to church. I was going as much as to see the beggar as I was to pray. I suddenly felt weird, confused, frightened, ashamed, but no longer alone. I reached into my pocket, pulled out a coin, and was about to place the coin in his hat. No, thank you. I have enough. Now I was really confused. He had shattered every idea I had of him. I didn't understand. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to run away, but was filled with joy. By now, I was really confused. He smiled and spoke. I was like you once. I came here every day looking for Jesus. I prayed, I cried, I awaited, and nothing happened. One day I met a man who told me I would find Jesus in everyone I dared to trust. For so long I didn't understand. I was so worried about me, how weak and inadequate I was, that I couldn't trust me. So I had no reason to trust anyone else. As he finished speaking, I suddenly realized that I only thought he was a beggar, but he was really a great giver. I wanted to ask how he discovered so much, and if he'd helped me make the same discovery. Then I realized he had given me all he could. Now it was up to me. I had to discover myself. No matter how weak and inadequate I am, I have to begin to trust myself.
Yes.
As he left, it all seems so obvious. I won't find Jesus until I'm willing to trust. I won't trust others until I trust myself. All these years I haven't been looking for Jesus. I have been looking for me.
And there you are.
And there you are. Oh.
All in the name of good experimentation. From a kite's eyes. That means like a bird. Not like that. I've messed up on some of these words. The creek burbles like a new babe, just born after a brief rain. I believe she is a she who might just someday be a river, cross bridges or veins of some larger body. Rain like that of the saints' deep-hearted tears, trapped in a little tide pool of thought, like some anemone, or then again, perhaps a gardenia or iris. Amethyst petals, mandarin orange highlights, and emerald as leaves and stems. Let us too be born of water. I am a dog's best friend. I listen to his sighs and have known his grief. To drink from the clear, clear stream. And again I am back to the creek, but an instant's walk away. My greatest painting, made by thinning oils with turpentine, and poured then into pools, one upon the other, watching as the colors merge, blend in little wisps of current, and then setting them on fire in a big whoosh. The center is burned, and you are left with nothing but pigment. Let her curving cubitarian body be not set aflame. Lightning come to smoke the water. Alas, alas, all is a creek, burbling like some newborn babe, birthed by brief rain.
I just instead of reading, I'm going to sing something a cappella.
Hi, I'm going to sing a South African lullaby. I sang this for my grandson to show the love that's in my heart, even though I'm a distance from him.
Against my grandchildren. I think I can do this. I never know when it's going to come, you know?
You want to take
Isn't that amazing? No, I'm good. I'm good. This is really important.
Hoo-ya, baby. Hoo-ya, baby. Hoo-ya, baby. Hoo-na-na. Hoo-ya, baby. Kool-Aid latte, baby. Kool-Aid latte, one night. Kool-Aid latte, baby. Kool-Aid latte, one night. Kool-Aid latte, baby. Kool-Aid latte,
That's a wonderful relief for me, apparently. I miss my grandchildren. I have 7.
What does that mean?
It's about the love, and it's really about, it's just about the love, you know, South African lullaby. So, thank you. My children are all over. They're on both coasts.
My soul full of doubt. Who put words into my mouth? Why am I still standing out in the rain? Your love is my flame. Is deeply stirred. I fought on bloody desert roads where bombs were hit, where nightmares never let go. Broken arrow, eyes are hollow, ears betray.
The way it works here is, if you get the boomerang, you're next. So, if anyone would like the boomerang, Al, are you ready for a boomerang?
All right.
I listened while you slept to the sound of my breathing mother. Tempo, rhythm, and tempo was constant. The flow of her breathing was almost deliberate. Watching and listening and wondering and posing questions to myself. Watching my mom sleeping. What is your dream, Mother? Why are you smiling in your sleep? Why are you frowning in your sleep? What made your eyebrows just move and rise up? How do you abandon yourself and surrender to your sleep, and yet your breathing continues unabated? I was just a child wondering about my mother, so near to me, yet so distant, and so far, too far to disturb, too far to reach. I listened to the breathing of my dad, and the snoring and the snorting, and the smell of the room, the smell of his bed, the smell of fatherhood, and something comforting, consoling his breathing, and he slept unknowing. I wondered what directed and force made him leave every day to go to this work that he went through, in the worst possible weather. And I wondered, what joy do you get from this toil? Only to come home to noise and chaos and babies crying. I listened to the sound of my breathing lover and the echo of her heartbeat. A heart that pulsed with mine so rapidly, so syncopated, and so hot, it could be heard for decades and past our pillows to the moon. And lying there in her sleep, her beauty increased each time her lungs filled. But slowly in a lover's dream, perhaps dreaming of one more ride together, with our eyes closed wide shut for the glorious unknowing, your skin still flushed, I watched and I wondered. I listened to the sound of my breathing child struggling to be alive, fearful that the night might snatch you away, fearful that joy would desert us. A mystery and a miracle, an innocent soul bequeathed to our care. And in that very moment, the full burden of parenthood realized is based so much on fear and trepidation. No wonder we pray over your crib. We ask our priest to bless you, pour holy water over your brow, and make every effort to ward off dangers. Just your fragile breathing kept us from sleeping so many hours and so many nights. Who has listened to my breathing and wondered all the same things about me? Did not my own parents watch over my crib in the dark and lonely room? What did the lifeguard feel upon the discovery of my body at the bottom of a pool? What was the name of the anesthesiologist who kept me breathing during the surgery? Why does the doctor ask me to breathe deeply while he listens with his stethoscope? Who have I kept awake with my snoring or my tossing and turning? This magic of breathing, this air that keeps us alive, the gift that we seldom consider.
Good.
Okay. I'm going to leave that up to you. I don't know for you what that is, what part of the cajon you like tapping on. That's a, I'll leave it to you, Silver Fox. And Michele Solberg accompanying me again. Thank you. And you look divine. I must say. You know? I must say. They're a standard upon which I seek to understand. It's just Texas class. Let's hear it for Texas class. Okay? A warm round of applause. I've learned to begin to appreciate it. Okay. So this song is titled, can we lower reverb just a little? So not so chambery, but yet still helps me sound a little bigger than I truly am. Yeah?
That's big.
Okay. This song I want to play is titled Sherwood. And I hope you enjoy this new arrangement. It's a sort of condensed version of the original poem. I hope you like this.
Gliding through the break, shadows
comes of daffodil, dreaming of morn, dreaming of a shadowy land that winds a shadowy horn. Robin Hood is here again, all his merry steeds. Listen as the bugle notes shivers through the leaves, calling as he used to call, faint and far away. In Sherwood, about the break of day. Merry, merry England has kissed the lips of June. All the wings of Fairyland are here beneath the moon, like a flight of rose leaves fluttering in a mist of opal and ruby and pearl and amethyst. Love is in the greenwood, building him a house of wild rose and hawthorn and honeysuckle boughs. Love is in the green, dawn is in the sky, and Marianne is waiting for glory in her eyes.
are vampires. They only come out at night. Their faces are opaque, moon white. From computer cocoons they spin webs of internet between the worlds of night and solar-powered diary day. Coffee's in their blood. They hang in packs in coffee houses. This seems to beat of each other's wings. Steady as a clap of bats within their spider web. Once you're bitten, you'll never be the same again. There's a certain wildness in their eyes, privy to a joke that only poets know. The chase of a butterfly image, deep within a cabbage patch poem. A haunted night, fresh blood. The blessing of novices, sacrificial victims, the stern editors, they must quest for that perfect crime. We still unlocks at Aladdin's cave, Plato's cave, and Nick's cave. Their eyes caving in with endless significance. Poured in the palms and the black coffee nights, they're but blessed and cursed, no church will admit them into their liturgy. Unless they profess belief in dogma no free poet could ever laughingly believe in. Poets are a paradox. They believe in everything and nothing. They're everywhere and nowhere to be seen in Austin. They inhabit visible spectra only for the initiate, and they will drink your blood. My mama told me that. In fact, if you ever see a poet, it's best to run as far away from that library as you can, because poets make you think and feel strange things. You start with sweat with possibilities. You get a fever for dramatic changes, and it will not stop there. You see, poets are everywhere. They can do anything. They have power far beyond the realm of ordinary humans, and they want you to be poets too. It's like a disease. Free speech. Listen to a poet. You start to feel strange things. Like everything is suddenly possible, and nothing is impossible. And even if the spell doesn't last long, poetry always remains in your dreams and memories when you wake up suddenly with a brilliant idea at 3 a.m. in the morning. Every 3 a.m. in the morning. That's when the poets are listening. That's when they enter your dreams and give you ideas you may never have considered before. That's why poets are vampires. Ideas can never die, and some poetry is immortal. Was it immoral? Never mind. Thanks for listening.
The world.
One of our boomerangs got confiscated. Bruce, you want to come up? Are you coming up?
You're next.
Whoa, Bruce! All right.
The time is right.
Time is always right. Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah, spit this one out.
Do you want the microphone, or are you just there you go?
It's a pretty small crowd. I don't really need.
Oh, wait. Whoa, we fell off.
We're huge.
We're big.
Read them all, Bruce. Read them all. Not censorship. Come on.
When I was 17, my childhood friend John, his family had a small plot of land in East Texas. So one weekend, John, Ron, another friend, and I loaded up an old Impala with peanut butter, jelly, sleeping bags, beer, and shotgun, and headed out.
Yeah.
The Impala burned blue smoke. We smoked pot, drank beer, and lied about sex for an hour. The old man who lived next to John's land, John Deere cap, whiskers, and a plug of tobacco, liked the boy for some reason. Then let us take guns and knapsacks onto his land. It was lush and green and hot. We searched the tree lines, looking for cow shit. In the early part of the day, mushrooms stand up firm. Finding one was like having a fish hit your line.
Yeah.
Or a girl opening her mouth for a kiss. We ate a few, saved the rest. As the morning progressed, as my mind opened, the mushrooms began to talk to me. They said, "Here I am. Come to me." I remember stepping over a snake as long as my body, as round and as fat as my arm, to pick a shroom that wanted to give itself to me. I remember standing in a field of grass, moving in the air, watching the swirls of my palm move, a speck of pencil lead embedded in a playground, reflecting my own death, the swirls of my palm flying off my hand into the live oak at the edge of the field, the live oak sending my life into the sky. The old man stockpiled. The catfish were so hungry, they hit empty hooks on stringers. Our stringers were full. We built a fire on the bluff overlooking the pond. Coyotes sang in the distance. Lying on my back, watching the stars swirl like serpents, I decided my God was a God of nature.
Yay! Oh yeah. It's on. God of nature. Silver fox. You're silver fox. Yeah. You're gonna be with the wow. Yeah.
As I'm laying on my couch, unemployed, 2.5 years divorced, missing my 6-year-old daughter and my 10-year-old son, girlfriend a year ago, gone, come back to visit and surprise me one day, and I sink into a place I've been before, kind of like now, where something is doing a little humming, a little talking. So I go further until there's nothing, and ask myself, is there something on the other side of that quiet? Something I can't see, hear, taste, feel, sense in any way? And you know what? There is. And it's a doorway. Can't say how wide. And I know if you're sitting on a patio, or in a coffee shop, or at a park, or on a bus stop, or in your car, and you really listen, you can hear birds flying out of that doorway. Sighs, music, a little soft burble like a baby.
okay, girl, and I'm coming right back to it at 60. He was like, well, you know the difference between idealism and reality? Acceptance. A great wind whistled through the blue and caught the moon and tossed it high above a house and fire is across the sky. Sailors gasped and looked and and wagged their heads from side to side, except their shaggy little child.